game. What are the ramifications of this game? What are the ramifications if you win it? What are the ramifications if you lose it? To me, if you win it, you get to kick the can down the road for the rest of the week, and then you take a swing at either the Lakers or the Pelicans. That's what's at stake.
I can't wait.
You lose tonight.
Oh, boy.
And I think
this is what Joe Lacob meant when he said if we flame out, Steiny, that would be losing tonight's game.
And I guess
that's where I'm with. What that man said would be a loss tonight to me.
And that's the part that's going to be
interesting.
No, I think it's good. I get it. If they lose tonight, and this is why this season has become something that everybody thinks is interesting. Because if they lose tonight, yes, I think not everybody, but I think a lot of people will say, big changes, this thing's over.
Yeah.
But the reality is that Joe Lacob said, when did Joe Lacob say that? Right around the trade deadline, right? Right around the trade deadline. The Warriors didn't do anything, and he said, you know what, I still think this team's this, that, and right. So, to me, the thing that's going to be hardest is, if you get beat tonight, it's going to be extremely disappointing. But how do you put in what part of the equation is, we were 27-12.
Draymond missed 25.
You could essentially say that Joe Lacob, right around the time he said, I think this team's got a little something. We still can do a little something. That's why we didn't make any moves. We could have made a move for somebody, but we wouldn't have gotten much back, and we still think this team and this, that, and the other thing. Well, you went 27-12 the last 39. So you might get beat tonight. It's just one game. Does that take away from the fact that for the second half of the season, you were a 55-win team? I mean,
but were you really if you couldn't go up to Sac with them hemorrhaging in regard to who's
Denver Nuggets lost. Denver Nuggets won almost 60 games. They lost some heartbreakers at the end. I'm just asking Warrior fans because I don't listen. What
would you do, Steiny? You've been
consistent. What happens?
No,
what happens?
No, I'm just saying if you run the Warriors now. The fact that you're in the 10th seed, would you, I think plans are already imminent. They know what they're doing.
Not if they go on a run. Not if they go on a run.
You think that would stall something?
Yes, I do. If you somehow get out of the play-in, if we're going to take it to the extreme.
No, go ahead.
And you get out of the play-in.
Beat OKC.
And you beat OKC? You still going to make big changes? That's why everything's so important.
So you think Klay's playing for, just him specifically, he's playing for his future? Or how much they are willing to pay him if he goes 8 of 10 from 3 or 2 of 10? See, I think they already kind of know.
I don't know. I mean, okay, let's just, they know what? That they're going to pay Klay?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do they, just say 25, 30?
Yeah, right.
$27 million.
Then it's up to Klay to say.
So they know, right? If they don't, see, I'm not sure that's the case.
Okay, wow.
I
really believe that.
If the Warriors lose tonight, this is where I get it. I'm arguing against my own logic, and the reason is because I don't know what they're going to do. How big of a difference is there between losing tonight and losing in 7 games of the Oklahoma City Thunder? Or what's the difference between losing tonight and losing Friday? Or what's the difference between losing tonight and losing in the second round?
See, I only can answer that as a fan, and I think it's a big difference. But as far as what they're doing and who's coming and going and who, we'll look to see who can dance out there as possible free agents or acquisitions.
Well, there are none.
Well,
I looked at the free agent
list. I heard Willard and Dibbs yesterday. They were trying to,
what, get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope?
Well, he was a name that came up, but some other names. But yeah,
I mean. The other, you know what? Do I think this game has ramifications for Klay Thompson? Yes.
Wow.
If you get beat tonight, can you pay Klay Thompson? Yeah, we'll just bring Klay back at 3 years for 75. Can you really do that?
Man.
I mean, maybe you can. I guess what I'm saying is there's going to be a way to justify anything they do. If they lose tonight and basically bring everybody back, they will say, the second half of the season, we were the best team in the Western Conference record-wise. They can say that, and they'd be right. If they lose tonight, they could say, we don't play for 10th seeds. This thing's getting blown up.
I can't wait, man.
But I can't imagine.
Game time?
Can't imagine you lose tonight and nothing changes. 888-957-9570 is the number. Warrior fans, what's at stake? What do you think's at stake tonight? What's the difference between a win and a loss? Is it really big changes and not big changes? 888-957-9570. How do you think that thing's playing out tonight in Sac?
What if I told you Mystique for me? Mystique is at stake for the Warriors in the big three. Like, if you can't go up here tonight and you're going to be the only game on, the only NBA game on, and you hate that you're part of the play-in, and the mystique of just, and I'm a loony, even though he ain't playing, he's still three-time champ. Dre, Steph, Clay, and Steve Kerr, if that's not good enough to beat Sac wounded, that to me will be the hardest part, and why I'll come in here tomorrow and keep it so real, Steiny, and say, you know what? I think this thing is over as currently constructed from what they've built.
And I'm playing devil's advocate, but how much mystique can you have if you were 20-21 at home this year? Like,
but can I say
they were 30,
part of that was 33. A 25-game suspension from a
You're
heart
really
and soul?
leaning on that, aren't you?
No, I mean, tell me when I can't, but it's just what you leaned on. Like, that's where I would go to that, our second half, and then Dre being gone for as much. I mean, if there was any crutch in any sports world that could be used and applied where it was just so, like, valid, it would be that if Draymond doesn't do what he did and he's not gone, 5 wins propels us.
Well, it keeps getting more.
Floors.
Keeps getting more and more.
But
he keeps it more and more wins.
I said 5 wins, and to me, that's the low end.
So when Draymond Green says that his suspension may have been the best thing to happen to the Warriors in terms of turning a corner and discovering some things, like, you just don't pay attention to that.
No, there's some merit in that, but that's finding the positive in a negative. But the real of the real is, if your ass hadn't left, yeah, maybe we don't get this. I got to highly believe TJD they would have found something.
I don't know. They might have, but it would have come at the expense of Kuminga. It might have come at the expense of Kuminga a little earlier in the year.
And speaking of which, look where we're at, and I don't have any feel. I'm hoping he balls out tonight, but on that front, since the bilateral knee tendonitis, Steiny, we don't know what to expect in regard to minutes and what JK we're going to get. So on that front, what did it really get you? Because he's still an enigma on the day of.
I mean, what I could say
win or
is,
lose, go home game.
What I could say is he got you through the middle part of the season, the dog days when Draymond was out, and
that he did
in between when they were finding something. Pretty Ricky's in San Leandro. What's up, Pretty Ricky? How you doing, man?
Doing really good, guys. Pretty Ricky here, the guy with the face for radio. But I just want to say, the only person on the Warriors that's playing for his future is Draymond Green. I think everybody else is safe. I think Draymond Green, because of what he did during the year, he cost these guys a 7-8 seed in my mind. And I think Lacob's done with them. And I think that if the only way he can make the team is if they win tonight, and he's an integral part of it, his defense, his passing, his shot, and then they win and get in, and if he does some spectacular stuff, even if they lose the first round to Oklahoma City, but Draymond is like the defensive player of the series, and he's the old Draymond, is the only way this man stays on the team, because he just caused too much damage with this suspension, just too much.
Appreciate the call.
That's my feeling.
Appreciate it.
Ricky, I can't call no other man Pretty Ricky.
Can I ask a question?
Isn't Pretty Ricky a group?
Yeah, it is. I forget the name. Divs would know the name, but go of the song. Go ahead, Evan. Oh, Stein.
Grind on me.
If there is.
I'm just going to throw this out. I mean, if you believe that if Draymond Green plays another 15 or 20 games, that the Warriors that are a 50-plus win team,
I do, man.
Why are we even talking about wholesale changes in the offseason?
Well, I would ask Joe Lacob that. Because when he did the podcast, Dre had been suspended, right?
Well, no, I'm asking.
No, I'm with you on that.
I don't know that Joe Lacob thinks it's a 50-win team with Draymond.
I told you I feel that.
Right.
So running it back would be, I would be okay with that as a fan. So then
why are the stakes of tonight's game so high if you've determined it's a 50-win team and you're going to bring it back because you think that the last 40 games are more important than one play-in game?
It's an easy answer, Steiny. The stakes are so high because I believe this team is better than where they're slotted at. I believe and I'll give my right arm for them to play a 7-game series. Not because I'm a fan, but because I believe from a basketball perspective, what they found, now they can run with anybody.
One game should not ruin. If you think they've found something, and we're talking about, like, I'm just arguing for argument's sake.
Right.
If you think this team's found something with 27-12, okay, but they're still in this unfortunate, like, if they go get upset by Sacramento, that trumps the last 40 games of the year?
I'm being consistent. No, I would be embarrassed and I would be mad, but if you told me, hey, Goo, there's not going to be much popping off in the offseason, Steiny, you got to back me up. I've told you I'm okay with that.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just wondering how we're judging
how
this
much
team.
you paying Kuminga? Like those are.
Let's see what happens.
In the Clay scenario,
let's see what happens tonight with Kuminga. I mean, the bottom line with Kuminga is, I would like to see him come out tonight and just absolutely
wreak havoc.
Yeah,
me too.
I hope. I wouldn't mind seeing him go 2 for 11 in 15 minutes if he gets in for 15 minutes. What I don't want to see
the 2 for 11. Oh,
because I want to see him aggressive.
All right, I hear you.
I'd rather see him trying to do too much than playing like he's played since he's come back. I don't care what anybody says. He's not. That's not a guy you can. The guy before the tendonitis,
go ahead,
could help you. The guy after the tendonitis might have trouble getting onto the court in an elimination game.
You're on fire, and I want to say this. I believe the guy before the knee tendonitis knows he can be a starter in this league. I just wonder how that's going to play out moving forward, regardless of what pops off tonight. If you're telling me we're going to come back next year and he's not a starter. Like, I feel like just me, Steiny, and I could be, Goo, you don't know Kuminga. I feel like he knows and has proved to himself he's a starter in this league. And if that's not on the table for him next year, this is an offseason issue. That could be a problem.
Well, how's he going to feel about not being a starter on a 10th seed? It's not even like it was one thing when he wasn't a starter on a so-called championship team. Now he's not a starter on a 10th seed.
Yeah, right now.
I mean,
but that's why I want them to get the experience. You mentioned it, TJD Pods and Kuminga being a factor. That'll be that, and Moody. That'll go a long way for these guys just to get that playoff experience.
Well, they got to win 2 games on the road, which has never been done in the play-in. It hasn't.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, just think about it. There's a reason it hasn't been done.
Who's surprised? You shouldn't really technically be in the playoffs at 10th. Let's put the rat on the table. As great as we think this Warriors season is, if this was the David Stern era, the Warriors they're getting ready for the lottery.